So you advise Gwyneth Paltrow to live separately from her new husband?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
No?
That sounds very, very interesting and somewhat spectacular. But what it really is that when couples start living together, certain things happen that kind of rub the excitement off. And that's true for anyone, Hollywood star or regular commoner. Yeah. And so one of the ways that you can work with that is you spend time apart. And that could be 10 minutes at the end of your workday in separate rooms, right? Or one takes a shower, one walks the dog. It could be having separate rooms where you can go and spend some time apart and then come back together. Or it could be separate houses. And of course, separate houses have to do with how much space do you need and how are your other arrangements.
But surely at the beginning of your relationship is when you want to spend all your time together. I mean, it's like after 30 years that you want to go when they breathe. Yeah. At the beginning. Well, was that just me? But surely at the beginning, that's when you should be getting to know each other.
Well, I think at the point where you get married, you do know each other already. And then you prevent 30 years from them going by actually having some discipline at a time where it matters.
Well, to be fair, that's Janet's technique.
I read about your advice to Gwyneth and I thought, I didn't take a call from Michaela lately because that is how I live. I was with my partner for about 10 years before I realised the only way, we were always living in the same house, and then his mother got sick, so he moved in with her, and it worked better.
Yes.
So for the last 2 years, I only see him on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. He lives in his house and I live in mine, and then we see each other at the weekends. And by Sunday night, I've had enough. Those little things you were talking about earlier, Gwyneth and I probably do the same. Brad's probably eating the wrong ice cream in front of the telly. He probably hasn't had his bits steamed. But, well, she does the steaming.
She does the steaming, yeah.
Yes. But no, you're talking a lot of sense. And then I'd say to people watching, all right, Janet can afford this lifestyle, but I'm saying to people watching, if your other half's getting on your nerves, get a shed and put them in it. Get a shed. Because you can just put them at the end of the garden and visit for sex.
Yes.
Or a chat. Michaela, what kind of other issues do celebrities come and talk to you about? So, obviously, you know, separate, but what other issues do they have? Intimacy issues?
I think most people, celebrities and non-celebrities, have the same issues around trying to keep the spark alive.
Yeah.
Having, you know, things that are not working smoothly. And of course, the more you're in the public eye, the more things are not smooth because nothing you do is off limits, right? Everything has to be dealt with in the public. So the lack of intimacy and the lack of actual connection is something that not only celebrities suffer from, right? There's TV, there is your phone, there is your iPad, there's your email. And when you look, most people are always on their phones and they're not that connected. And so then add to that the stress of everything you do being watched, and you have some real issues.
So you're saying get off your digital stuff, get off your phones and your iPads for more intimacy.
Yes.
Yeah, what do we mean by intimacy?
Well, what we mean by intimacy, or what I mean by intimacy, is, I'm saying we because I also have a teaching partner I travel with, is first and foremost a relationship with yourself. So you can actually feel yourself and you know what's happening within you. Because you can't actually connect with anyone else unless you know what's happening here. You can't say no, by the way, if you don't know what's happening in here. And then intimacy is connecting with another and feeling that person. And then from that place, you can have sex if you want to, but that's not necessarily always the goal. It's that kind of, you know, the joy and the play of two people actually wanting to be together.
Sounds very spiritual.
It might be spiritual, but I think it's a basic human need. We want to be close with someone.
So what are your tips then for, people who live, forgive me, ordinary lives?
Yes.
That they perhaps have got a hectic house, everyone's working, they've got kids, they've got pets running about, they've got other dependents, and they're frazzled.
Yes.
At what point do you say, right, darling, let's get intimate, and how do you do it?
Yes. Well, I think the biggest piece to even wanting to go there is generosity. So before we talk sex tips or intimacy tips, what we're looking at is, are people praising each other? Are they actually acknowledging that the other person is wanted? Or is it just nagging?
We criticise them.
Yeah.
And criticize them, and you didn't do this, and this didn't happen. So generosity is the #1 marker.
Well, sadly, we don't have time for the sex tips, which is a shame because it's the only reason that Colleen got on a train this morning.
It's the only reason I haven't said one word.
So I do apologise. So maybe a little private consultation, you, Gwyneth and Michaela. We might just see how that goes. Michaela, thank you very much. Michaela Boehm.